Yeah, your car must be a mess.
It's really messy. It's really bad. It's like the worst thing I've ever done to myself.
But I'm wondering, would it be like that even if you weren't doing Paintin sips? Like, is it due to Paintin sips mostly, or is it also due to teaching?
It was 100%
Both.
teaching.
Really?
Because the Paintin sips I load into my garage afterwards. So my garage is also a disaster zone. But that's like, you can close that up. You're fine. You can walk away from that. But I always take that out of my car. But I go to a classroom every day. So I have to have stuff in my car every day for that.
Do you clean your car out on Friday?
I should. There's definitely ways I can make
Let's
it
talk
better
about all
for
your
myself.
faults, Chloe.
Could it be better? Yes. Could I change the situation? Most likely, yes. But it's just the situation at hand. So yeah.
So you do Paintin sips on the weekend. Mm-hmm. And do you also do them after school sometimes?
Sometimes I have I'm doing one at the Mount Vernon Public Library on the 22nd.
Oh,
and
the new
that
library?
Yeah, that one. So it's going to be pretty cool. It's a Frida Kahlo themed one.
Wow.
So I'm super excited for that. But it's at 5:30 p.m. So I go from 4 o'clock. I go straight to my event, and then I just set up and get it ready, and then game time.
Are you in my class that day? 27th?
No, that's on a Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday, so you're Alan. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's at 5:30. Mm-hmm. But that's probably not a free event.
I think you have to pay through the public library, so they have a link for it, but it might be free. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. I wasn't in charge of that one. I don't know. I'm just showing up.
But usually it's like you put it on, and are you in charge of people signing up for the Paintin sips, or how does that work?
Yeah, so usually I send out a link, and then I have it on my Instagram, so they can click on the link that's on my link to bio.
Okay.
And then I put up my links on my link to bio, and then they just follow the ticket link, and it's $35 a person. So
right.
Yeah, and then that's the instruction, all the supplies, all that great stuff. So
nice.
And then they get to go to a brewery and have food or drinks if they want to, and hang out with friends and family. So it's pretty awesome. Yeah.
And so if you do them mostly every weekend, would you do one on a Saturday and one on a Sunday?
Sometimes, yeah. April, I was telling you, is my Super Bowl month.
I've been telling so many people, guys, it's the Super Bowl at Paintin sips.
It's a really big deal, okay? It's a lot of stuff going on.
Why is it? Because of the tulips? Really?
Yeah, because of the Tulip Festival. So they booked me for 2 weekends in a row. So I'm going to be
you're at the Tulip Festival.
Yeah. So there's a new field that they opened up. Andrew Miller, he owns part of Tulip Town for a while, and now he's doing his own thing, and he has one on Bradshaw Road, which is the same as Tulip Town, and then he opened another one on Pulver Road.
Okay.
And the one on Pulver Road is only for private events.
Oh.
And so they're doing this cute tea in the tulips event, and they have yoga in the tulips.
What?
Yeah, and then they're doing Paintin sips in the tulips.
Well, I want to do a podcast in the tulips.
You should. Yeah, no, it's honestly going to be so cool. But yeah,
wow.
So we're going to do one at 10 a.m. and then one at 3 p.m. each day. It's the 15th of April is one of them, and then the 22nd of April is one of them.
Wow.
So we'll have 4 events total in the tulips.
So I'm just thinking, there's a whole bunch of tulip fields.
Uh-huh.
How do people find out what's happening? Is there one tulip website?
Yeah, I think this Tulip Valley Farms is the main one, and then Tulip Town has a separate one, I believe. But Tulip Valley Farms is the new link.
Oh, okay.
And I know that if you look on the Skagit Valley stuff, they have all the links to things because they want people to be more informed. So
yeah,
you can go on their website, the Skagit Valley area, and find more about the tulips because there's so many right now. There's Roosengards, Tulip Town, and then Tulip Valley Farms going on.
Wow. So, I used to work at the Trumpeter.
Oh yeah,
in Mount Vernon, and it was my first year we lived here, and during tulip season, people would come in from out of town, and they go, "Where are the tulips?" They're just driving. Sometimes they would just stop. I'm outside doing the chalkboard, and they go, "Where are the tulips?" And I'm like, "The giant acres of fields."
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's not here.
You can't just go downtown Mount Vernon and then there they are. Yeah.
Well, there is the giant, those metal tulips.
Yeah.
I'm like, there they are. They're right there.
Found them.
You traveled all the way here just for
now
that.
You can go home.
Yeah. But I have seen a couple bumper stickers that say "Nuke the tulips."
Oh my gosh.
And I kind of get it.
Yeah.
Especially if you live on that side.
Yeah.
Holy cow. Or you take one of those exits. I'm trying to think what exit it is. There's probably a couple exits that you try to take, and they're just, and what's that sign in downtown Mount Vernon that says "Don't stop on the tracks"?
Yeah.
Why would you have that sign? Because people are stopping on the tracks.
It's just as a teacher, you're like, please don't cut your hair with the scissors. And they're like, why would you even tell me that? Why do you think I have to tell you that? Because it's happened before.
Yeah.
So it's just a good thing.
And so your grandpa worked on a field, right? He owned a field?
Yeah, so he owned Tulip Town with my grandma for about 50 years.
Okay.
So they started out as just a cart with a couple of bunches of tulips and sold those on the side of the road.
Aw.
And then it became Tulip Town. And then, so Tulip Town was a
So
family.
he started Tulip Town.
Yeah, he started Tulip Town.
Aw,
And so
that's cute.
Tulip
What was
Town
his name?
Is Tom DeGote.
Tom DeGote.
Yeah. Then he passed away about 3 years ago. And 3 years ago is when also the people, the new owners, purchased the farm. So he literally passed away right when it was sold.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and
so he was going to sell it.
Yeah, so the plan was to sell it.
Wow.
It took him about 5 years to sell it. So they were trying to retire younger so they could enjoy a little bit of retirement time. But my grandpa was also so stubborn and really didn't want to sell. So he was being super picky. And like it was so hard for us to get him off that farm. And then, so when he passed away, he actually passed away while farming. Like he just passed away while on the tractor.
Oh my
so
gosh.
he really didn't want to leave.
Aw.
And I was like kind of feeling really nervous for the new owners because I was nervous like he's going to be like stalking them. Like showing up on the property.
Ghost of the tulip.
Yeah, and I was
field.
like, he's going to keep showing up and like not leave them alone and not let them farm. So I think it happened the way it needed to happen. He passed away before they moved off the farm and my grandma got to begin her new life in retirement. And
What is she doing?
she has a lot of projects going on. She actually just wrote a book too.
What?
Yeah, I think it's called like Remembering Tulip Town or Remembering the Farm. But
Yeah.
she just finished it up and she's sending it out. But she wanted to remember my grandpa because his story. He grew up in Holland. He was one of 11 kids.
Really? I didn't know that.
And then he
Wow.
immigrated here and then met my grandma who taught him how to speak English. So
What?
yeah, so that's how they
Oh,
met. And
wow.
then they began this journey of
Like, did they meet in school?
they met because he needed to learn how to speak English. So I think she was tutoring him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I forget how that connection happened, but it was really cool just hearing their journey and how they took like this simple meeting of like learning how to speak a language and then they just fell in love and began this whole journey. And again, it was a hard one. Like they had quite a few kids to support in that meantime of like literally just selling tulips from a cart. And then
Wow.
to
That was their
becoming-
income.
That was their income. Yeah, and still even like with the Tulip Festival, it's like April's a big month. And then you live off of what you make in April because that's all you're really putting
Wow.
on the
I never
fields.
thought about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to find creative ways to keep yourself afloat during the meantime.
Yeah. We've talked about that with concrete, how it's once the pass is open, it gets really busy.
Yeah.
Once the pass is shut, it's just locals.
Yeah.
So you have to, like you said, like really take advantage of that busy time.
Yeah.
And then figure out a way
Yeah,
the rest of the time.
yeah.
But I can't imagine 1 month.
Yeah. It's 1 month. And so
Wow.
it is stressful those months where it's like hail and wind and rain because
The weather is out of your control.
Yeah, you can't control that, but no one wants to go out and do an outdoor event when it's sideways winds and rain and wind, rain, hail, all the
Well,
things.
see, and I was just thinking about growing the tulips. I wasn't even thinking about the actual event. So
Yeah.
there's the whole growing of them, stressing out over things you can't control, and then people showing up.
Yeah, and I always wonder why my grandpa was like, talking to the soil and like, like giving it pep talks.
He's
but
doing
there's-
rain dances and all this stuff.
Yeah, like he was always so like one with the soil and one with the world like around him, and
Oh
I
my
totally
gosh.
understand because he was like, this is like everything, like this.
Oh
needs to
my
happen
gosh,
well.
that's beautiful.
Yeah, so we always were like, just leave him alone. Like, this is
Let
his
him talk to the
process,
dirt. He's
but
just,
he
like,
had a
petting
beautiful
it.
crop every year, so whatever he was doing was working great. But, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that must be hard for your grandma to, just not be a part of it anymore.
Yeah, I think.
But you said they were ready to sell
yeah,
anyway.
she was ready long before my grandpa was. And like I said, like she's like that's okay. Like she was able to walk away pretty happily, and then she actually was able to go build a house and like just retire and enjoy her
nice.
retirement really fully, and
Yeah.
has lots of projects she's doing, and
Oh,
she
good.
seems pretty happy. And again, family surrounding her a lot. So
Yeah, and you said that she wrote a book. Is
Yeah, she
there
wrote
art as well? Like, is she an artist too, or?
she is not an artist, but she is just really in tune again with the beauty around her. So if she could be an artist, she would be a photographer because she loves to
Oh.
just like enjoy the world around her. But yeah, I'm just excited to read this story of like
Yeah.
where it all began, because that's what she wanted to leave as like her legacy, is like write
Right.
it down and like let everyone know and hear about my grandpa and hear his story and like just get inspiration from that. So,
Well, that's why I started this podcast. When I met my friend Steve in Concrete and he was telling me all his amazing stories,
yeah.
I remember thinking, this has to get told. Like, people
Yeah.
have to hear this. At the very least, if I listen to it,
Mm-hmm.
his son listens to it, and his grandson, that's the best ever.
Yeah.
If other people like it too, that's great. But just for these like 4 people, that's fine.
I know. I love hearing people's stories. And again,
I know,
you
me
can
too.
get so much inspiration from it.
Yeah.
So.
I was telling Conrad yesterday, I feel like the older I get, the more I want to know about history around me. Like he said that his grandpa immigrated from Germany and he worked at Northern State.
Yeah.
Like the old mental hospital. And I said, oh my gosh, quick. What's his number? Can he come on the podcast? I want to hear everything. And he's passed away, but just that's all I think about is like the history of concrete, the history of Northern State. I don't even know the full history of Cedar Woolley. I went to that museum in town. It is amazing.
Really?
I didn't have a lot of time, but you should, if you ever get a free weekend, go to the Cedar Woolley Museum. Like they put so much work into it. You can touch anything in there.
Wow.
It's really cool. Like I think kids would really enjoy it too. Just the history of the logging and all that stuff. And there's a lot of typewriters in there, so I love that part.
Yeah, I know you do. Yeah.
Love my typewriters. Okay, that's cool. I love hearing about your Paintin sips, but how did you start Paintin sips?
It actually started last May, so it hasn't even been a year yet. So
wow.
It started out like I was planning on being a teacher just in the classroom and not do the job that I'm doing currently, which
because you taught first grade for 3 years?
4 years.
4 years.
4 years at LU. And then, I was like, I think I want to try some older grades. So I chose to do a 5th grade job for a bit, but then this art teaching position came up. So it was pretty funny because the plan with the Paintin Sips was like, I want to hone into my creativity more. So I was like, I feel like I need something in my life that brings more creativity back in. And I've always wanted to like see if I could do some sort of side business if I could, because I felt like I had some free time and that would be an awesome
you have energy.
I have energy to do it. So why not try? And so I started out just like, I'll do my friend's daughter's birthday party. And
you did dahlias, right?
Yeah, I did dahlias. And then I was like, that was so fun. I really enjoyed that. And
that's
then
awesome.
I did my friend's bridal shower, and then that was really fun. We were able to paint things for her. And then just slowly as I posted, people started reaching out, and then it started to kind of become something that's like almost every weekend I've got a paint and sip, and like I did not expect that. So
do you reach out to places?
I did reach out to Stemma Brewing in Bellingham, and then they were like super receptive, and then I started getting those once a month, and then I have Downtime Taps reached out to me, and they're in Ferndale.
Okay.
And theirs is super cool. They have like these little bracelets where you serve yourself, so you like tap it on the screen, and then you serve your own drinks.
Yeah.
And so people really enjoy that. But yeah, they reached out to me, and I feel like it's just been like, whoa, I did not expect it to be this busy. So I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool, but I just didn't expect it. So
well, you're going to be upriver soon.
Yes.
You're going to do a paint and sip at the hub at some point.
I know. I'm really excited to do it. Like just
That'll
the way
fun.
it's like happening, I just keep laughing. I'm like, I did not expect this, but I really like it. So it's like one of those things that like, when you think about it, when you leave, you're just smiling because it just like filled your cup so much. Like you just feel so like happy and.
Oh, last night when Conrad and his wife left, I couldn't wait to edit it to put it out. I was so excited. Like usually it makes sense to edit for a few days, no big deal. But I was like, no, I just put Casey's out, but I have to put Conrad's out right now because it's so great.
Yeah.
And I'll probably want to put yours out tonight.
I know. It's like you can just feel the difference. Like when it's passion work, like I just didn't expect it to take off. But like, I don't know, just the way people feel when they're there, like the feeling of just being with your friends or your family.
It's just that connection.
The connection and just being a part of that. And like everyone's just smiling the whole time and just enjoying every part of it. And like, I don't know, there's no need to worry about buy-in because they're already there. They want to be there. So.
Yeah, you don't have to convince them of anything. Yeah, like teaching.
Like teaching, for example.
Teaching that we love so much.
Yeah, we choose our professions. Like we chose this path for ourselves, but it's definitely a difference when they.
But it is nice to have people who want to be there.
I know. I feel like I don't have to like be over their shoulder, like pay attention or like do this or do that.
But wait, you've probably had maybe like a couple sign up, and maybe the wife signed up her husband.
Oh yeah,
and
you always get the husband.
I was gonna say, tell me some stories of like the husband who's reluctantly like.
Yeah, usually like.
Is it usually the husband?
It's usually the husband for sure. It's only happened like 3 times, but like usually what happens is they speed through the painting and then they stand in the background drinking beer. They're just like, I'd rather be doing something else. Thankfully, at like the places that I've been at, they have like football playing on the TV in the background, so at least like there's something.
CJ will love paint and sips. Then.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like either that, like I had one who just like painted really fast, stood in the background, drank beer. Another guy sat there with a blank canvas the whole time and just drank beer, and, like watched the TV.
He's like, I'll save your paint.
I know. I was like, okay, that's fine, but it was for the most
you
part.
bought the ticket, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, that's totally fine, but not gonna force you to do anything.
And one of my students, you might be able to guess who I'm talking about, but he gets rock brain where he just freezes and he can't do something, maybe because he doesn't know how to do it perfectly.
Yeah.
Like, do you find you get adults like that?
Yeah, I think that they do get like to a point where they get super frustrated. And
Near the beginning, the end?
It's like middle,
Okay.
like probably because it gets a little more complex. They start with like the easy tasks first.
Like
and
the
then
background.
yeah, exactly. Just like easy, and then we'll ease into like the harder things because you gotta like get yourself like moving a little bit.
Yeah.
And then like when we get to the technical parts, like we're starting to paint trees, then they just like glob up so much paint, just kind of like slap it on the canvas.
Well, they've had a couple wines by then too.
Yeah, that's true. So there's like that's also a factor.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then I'm like, okay, so like less paint sometimes is better. Like just like I like take the brush away for a second. Like, gotta take a deep breath. Like just go and then
You should play the videos that you play in my class.
Yeah.
You know, like the breathing videos.
Breathing videos. I know I have to play breathing videos.
Calm your body.
Yeah, I'm like, gotta just take a moment, take a break. Yeah, I should have relaxation corners for other people. It's like the football corner, the relaxation corner, and then we can come back. Like you can choose football or you can choose the relaxation timer.
Now, does Christian come with you when you do them?
Yeah, he does. So he's
Is he your assistant?
My assistant. Yeah, and like I feel like he's just like a little waiter, but he loves it.
Does he?
Totally loves it. Yeah, because his
nice.
job, he's a manager of people, and he used
okay.
to be like always working in sales, so he talked to people all the time.
Oh, okay.
And now he like doesn't really get that piece anymore in his job. So he's like, honestly, being able to talk to people and like just like serve like that. He used to be a server too, so he just like really enjoys that.
Oh, cool.
And so he was telling me, he's like, it's like what you were saying, like there's a bit of your job that you were missing, so you started this. He's like, this is also like filling my cup in a weird way. He's
Yeah.
like, I really enjoy it. So he's been my assistant, and it works because it's Lively Brushes and it's our last name, so it's the two of us working together.
Yeah,
so
that's
that's
awesome.
pretty fun. And then my friend Monzi, who has been my friend since kindergarten, she always
Monzi?
comes up. Yeah,
What a
she
cute
comes
name.
up and helps me out too, and she loves it too. So it's been really cool.
Oh,
to have
nice.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and eventually what I want it to be is like a business where I can hire like my teacher friends during the summer and like some extra income for them, you know, like just to support my friends and their families. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping it can become something bigger that could be supporting my people, you know.
Well, and who knows, like how many people, like say it's their first paint and sip, and yeah, you're directing the whole painting, but maybe at the end of it, they go and buy themselves a canvas and a brush and paint. Like, has anyone ever like come up to you and said, "Oh, because of you, I've done this"?
Yeah, a lot of people actually. I did a private event on Saturday, and it was like the same thing, like where a person came up to me. She's like, honestly, I never thought that I would enjoy painting, but I really enjoy this today. And she's like, I feel like if I just keep practicing, I could get really good at this. And so that was really cool. And I sent her home with paints. So I'm like, do it. Like, that's so cool. Like, please. And that's how I am too as an art teacher. I'm like, you need more supplies? Take the supplies. So I really want that to be like, this to be a spark, you know, that like fuels the fire. So that's the goal in the end, is like to really inspire them to enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. I was talking to Stacy. She has the Golden Buckle coffee cart.
Yeah.
And she was, I told her, because I said, "Hey, Stacy, have I asked you yet about being on my podcast?" And she said, "No." I'm like, okay, well, here's me asking you.
Yeah.
You know, because I love people that have a side gig. I just think like that's pretty cool. One of my friends and I were talking about how like all these people that I'm talking to, they're just really hard workers. I'm like, that's what I'm attracted to. It's not like musicians or you know, artists. It's people who just keep grinding. I love that. And they're grinding happily. They're not being forced to. They really want to.
Yeah.
And so I said to her, you know, I really want to interview you. And she's been at the races every year since she was a kid. And I've never been. And so I want to talk about the races.
Yeah. What kind of
You know,
races are we talking about?
Oh, like the Speedway.
Okay. I was like, horse races?
Oh, sorry.
Car races? Yeah.
And so we were talking a bit. And I said, for example, I'm going to interview Chloe and I want to talk about her paint and sips and the tulip fields. And she said, she does paint and sips? I'm like, yeah. So she suggested we should do a staff one.
Let's do it. I would be so excited.
Because we had done one, I want to say maybe 2 years ago or last year, and Julia walked us through one. It was really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It was
I would
fun.
absolutely love to. And again, like I love working with teachers. My private event on Saturday was like all Bellingham teachers.
Oh, was it?
And I can't tell you how much joy that brought me, honestly, because like just teachers coming together and like letting loose and just having fun and being creative and like just like talking about their days, and just it felt like they were able to decompress, and like they started out pretty like high shouldered, like their shoulders were up pretty high, and then by the end they're like, whew. Like it's like they had their therapy session for the day or the month, I don't know, but like it was just like they just seemed lighter when they left, and like
that's awesome.
they're saying that they want to do another one because they just needed it. Like it's so funny how many people just didn't realize they needed some time to sit down and paint and just like talk it out with someone, and it's a really cool thing to witness for sure.
I think sometimes you don't realize how tense you are until you get a chance to relax. You're like, oh,
wow,
I was really wound up there.
I remember like I don't, it's been a long time since I had a massage, but I had a massage one time and they were like really taking their elbow to my back, really going for it. And then I realized that they're like, you have the biggest knots ever. And I'm like, I could feel like the tension release, but I had no idea how high my shoulders were. Like, when you walked in, we knew we were going to have to take an elbow to you. Like, they literally said I had to take an elbow to you. I'm like, is that an expression people use? Like, I had to take an elbow to that girl. Like, she was so tense.
You talked about sorry, I was trying to call me.
Yeah, right.
You had talked about your grandparents meeting, like the amazing way that they met. I met CJ in a bar. So
really?
like, I mean, it was kind of a cool story because I kind of like fled to Korea the second time because of my traumatic experience in the Middle East. So I kind of ran there, and then he had cancer when he was here, and he kind of ran to Korea, and we met in a bar. But I love hearing the how we met story. So like, do you and Christian have a pretty good story?
Yours is pretty darn romantic to follow up, but yeah.
I'll probably say this on multiple podcasts. I told him I loved him, and he said we should break up.
Oh my god!
But it was good because it really made me reflect and go, why doesn't he love me? And I really thought about, wow, I really nag him about cleaning his apartment.
Yeah.
He smoked over there. Didn't like that. So I nagged him about that. He liked to go out. I didn't. So I nagged him about that. Yeah. And I said, God, I'm annoying.
Yeah, so I had to like reflect.
And I stopped. And I was so much happier after I stopped.
Yeah.
3 weeks later, he's like, I want to marry you. I want you to have my kids. I'm like, yes.
It worked.
I know.
Self-reflection.
So he's always like, I tricked him. You can come in. What do you want?
I was going to say, can I go to Addie's house?
With Sophie? Sure.
Bye.
Are you going to bring your... Can you bring your phone?
Yeah.
Okay. See ya.
Bye, Olive.
So how did you guys meet?
So I'm like kind of embarrassed about it because I've never been that type of person before, but you do it once and then hopefully it lasts forever.
What, Tinder?
No, I know, right? I know that's how everyone's at nowadays, but like...
I know, I'm glad I'm not single.
Yeah, no. When I was single, I was dating this guy who was my neighbor, and he like showed up at my house and like had heard that I was newly single and apparently had wanted to pursue me before, but I was in a relationship. And so he showed up at my door and he was like, hey, do you have any ibuprofen? And he's like this like super big like jock dude, and I was like, yeah, I have some ibuprofen. So it was like a rebound situation, and I was like, this is perfect. This is what I needed. I needed a rebound. Everyone needs a rebound from time to time. But his roommate was Christian. And Christian's like the cutest, happiest, like purest of heart people that I've ever met in my life. And when I met him, I was like, the only thing I like about this jock dude is Christian. I don't know how to end it because if I end it, I can't see Christian because that's really awkward, Yeah. But Christian and I became like best friends, and we were best friends for a whole year.
Oh.
And like we never really thought about that, or we did, but didn't know if we were on the same page. There's a lot of awkward moments and awkward tension. And
how long did you date the jock for?
Like 5 months.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I ended it with him, and then Christian just kept showing up at my door and was just like, hey. I just wanted to see you. I want you to know I still want to be friends with you. And like we just hung out a lot and just were friends again for another 6 months.
And this was like in college?
This is in college. Yeah, my junior year of college.
Yeah.
And then after about like a year of friendship, we finally were like, we both like each other. I don't know what's taking this
What are
long.
we doing?
Yeah. And it's like, but like one of my friends had to like shake him and be like, Chloe likes you too. And he was like, no, and like freaked out. He's like, we would have been together so long ago. Like he needed to hear it from someone to like believe it.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, but I've never been that type of person to like pursue someone's friend. So for me, it was like also a shame thing. Like I feel so bad for making that tension happen in their apartment, And so I was like, I'm gonna walk away. I'm not gonna make it happen. But then Christian finally made his move, and because he knew that I liked him now, like officially. Yeah. And then the rest is history for me.
Well, and when you were talking about your grandpa and how he sold the farm like at that time, it's probably good he sold then, because could you imagine him going through COVID?
No.
Like, exactly. I don't know how the tulip fields were affected, but I'm sure it was affected like everyone else.
Yeah.
Even though it was outside.
Even though it was outside, they were still like, they had to put like a random, it was almost like exactly how Tulip Festival looked when they first started it. Like they had to just have a little cart out there.
Oh, wow.
And like sell tulips to get by, or like sell sweatshirts to get by. Like just stuff that people don't actually want to buy because they want to buy a sweatshirt if they saw the Tulip Festival to help them remember it.
Yeah.
But you could see it in the background, but they couldn't let them on the field because it was
Oh
early
my
COVID.
gosh.
And that was the year they just bought it, so you can imagine how stressful that is when you just put
I
out
feel
all
bad
that
for the
money.
new owners. Yeah.
I know, but just thinking about how creative they had to get with like marketing and being online, like their online profiles and stuff. Like my grandparents didn't know how to do that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so it was like it would have been a really stressful time for our family, and they would not have retired comfortably.
Yeah.
Like they would have been in a very different place for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, and 2020 was when I was supposed to go to Germany for the exchange trip. I was supposed to coach tennis. Like, obviously, everything got canceled.
Yeah.
But weren't you supposed to get married?
Yeah, I was supposed to get married in 2020. Yeah, that didn't happen. I know.
Yeah.
But we ended up buying a house during the time where like interest rates were super low.
Oh,
like,
during.
during COVID. So like instead of getting married, we're like, we got to do something for ourselves. You know, we're like, that's kind of a bummer. You know, like so we're supposed to get married July 25th of 2020, and then we pushed it to July 17th, 2021.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't too bad.
No, it was a year different, but we literally got married when like the Delta variant almost came and everything opened up and then like literally closed back down around us. And
wow.
Yeah, it was wild. And then it was like this like pocket of time, and then it closed back up behind us. So we even got back from our honeymoon safely. Like I think no one got COVID at the wedding. I don't know how it happened, but it was like the world was like, yes, just for you two. We'll open up and then we'll close back down. So it was wild, but we were thankful to fit it in 2021 because I know that some people even had to do virtual in 2021 because the Delta variant came in full force.
Yeah. So besides Paintin Sips, teaching, and I know you go on lots of ladies' weekends.
My other fellow teachers, yes.
Well, I guess not a lot. Just once in a while, I'll be like, oh, Danielle, what are you doing? Well, I just woke up. Everyone's sleeping. I'm at a girls' weekend. I'm like, oh, man, that's awesome.
We plan those like once or twice a year.
I love it. That's so fun.
It's good because we all need each other. Like, again, we call ourselves the quarantine because we literally like got through COVID together as a team. So it's just become this thing that we continue to support each other, even though COVID is kind of still a thing, but not really a thing that we worry about anymore.
Yeah.
So the quarantine stays strong. And we spend some time together. Yeah.
I remember telling Danielle, I said, God, if I had some free time, I'm going somewhere by myself. And she's like, you go somewhere by yourself? I would never do that. I'm like, oh, you should try it. It's really awesome.
You should try it. Like, you don't have to ask anyone for anything. You're just like, I want this. I want that.
The other thing that we would always argue about is, God, I miss Danielle so much. Sorry. We'd always argue about, because she loves reading fiction. That's like her thing.
Yeah.
And I would never read fiction. Like, I'm nonfiction all the way. Like, this better be teaching me something or I'm wasting my time. But then this summer when Olive went through her health issues, and I remember thinking like, well, first of all, like, you know, I was sober for about 5 years this summer. And I remember thinking, I want to drink. I just want to drink right now to escape and not think about this. And I got home and I borrowed a bunch of books from a friend, and I just picked one up. It was Fight Club, and I just started reading it. And it was amazing that I was gone for 3 hours. Like, I was just, and I put the book down and thinking, oh my gosh, I didn't think about her and her situation for 3 hours. That was amazing. And so I just read so much. So I totally get it now. And I think when I was younger, I don't know. I know I read fiction when I was younger, but I never read to necessarily like escape, you know?
Yeah.
So do you read a lot or?
Yeah, I definitely do. And like the quarantine, they give really good recommendations too. You know, ask
so
the quarantine.
The quarantine all reads?
Yeah, we all read. Actually, that's what we do on our girls' weekends. Is like
really?
We have some
I might be
drinks,
down
of
for
course.
those.
Yeah, so we have some drinks, of course, but like we sit and like if there's a pool, we're by the pool, we're reading, and then we're just relaxing, and like because we all need like that R&R time. So it's really just time to whatever you need it to be. No one's expected to do or be a certain way. It's just like, we're all just gonna hang out in the same room and read. Sound good? We're like, yeah, it sounds great.
Wow, I don't think I've ever done that with anyone. That sounds really awesome.
I've never done a community reading session either, but we do that, so it's been really fun. So we all just like lay like we're on the carpet or on the couch or whatever, just reading. It's great.
That's so funny.
And then you like all like can switch books at the end if you want to, or if you get to the same point where you're done with your book. We're like, okay, I saw how like intensely you're reading that book, so we gotta swap. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun.
Cool.
So definitely a lot of reading.
Oh, I love it. That's cool. Okay, so you have Paint and Sip nights all the time.
Yeah. So
because I was gonna like start listing them, but then I thought so people should go to your Instagram.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I'll link that, and I guess I could link I'm trying to think what's the Tulip website again?
Yeah, it was
Tulip
Skagit
Town?
Valley Farm. Or it's, no, I think it's like Valley Farm. That's brand new. Sorry.
Okay. That's okay. No worries. We'll just correct it.
Yeah, we'll
I put
correct
links
it.
in the description.
Perfect.
So,
Yeah. No, they're brand new because he's Andrew's branching off from Tulip Town, so he just started this new one, and he's doing one on Bradshaw and one on Pulver. And
Okay.
Pulver's the private event one, and Bradshaw I think is like a cool like walking experience. Like the way he was explaining it, it sounds like he's really put a lot of thought into it. So it's pretty
Wow.
cool.
And then he
Yeah.
wants to do yoga as well?
Yeah, so the Pulver one is going to have like yoga events, like a tea in the tulips event. Again, like just so
Wow.
many like creative ideas to get people in the tulips, and like they're trying to make it really community based and get more community members involved, so it's more of a fun thing for the community and not like the damn you tulips like kind of thing, you know? Because
I mean, it's really just the traffic, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the only
the
only
traffic
thing.
is bad, and then also like restaurants just get so overloaded with people and
Oh, yeah.
stores, you know, so like it's just
Yeah, there's no
just a lot.
parking and
Yeah, small towns getting hit by pretty heavy traffic for sure.
Yeah, which is like you want business.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
a good thing.
It's just hard when it comes all at the exact same time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I know there's spillover in the summer. Like people come back to Mount Vernon in the summer to hang out, and
Yeah, I think
it's a beautiful downtown.
It's a beautiful downtown, and then I think that it's just not built for heavy traffic. I think
Yeah.
that's the hard thing. Like
Yeah.
we're not prepared for the heavy traffic, and
Yeah.
police officers are like everywhere trying to control it, but it just can't really be contrremembered.
Yeah.
So, and then
Yeah.
there's always people that are like, "Where are the tulips?" You know?
Yeah.
So,
They just don't know.
they just don't know.
Yeah. I remember I think I only went to the fields once with my Aunt
Mm-hmm.
Kathy, and there were quite a few people there that weren't really prepared for the tulip fields.
Oh,
They
yeah,
were
man.
wearing
I worked the tulip festival like every
Heels?
year of my life, and yeah, they're wearing heels.
Oh, I didn't realize you worked at it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Oh, duh,
It
of
was,
course you did.
family-based,
What
like,
did you do?
I
Did you
every
mainly
job
stay?
there.
Okay.
Yeah, I did everything, but mainly I did the trolleys, which
So
is
what
like
does
a
that mean?
tractor trolley. So it was like a tractor pulling this trolley behind it, and then they would drive through the field so people could get like, if they're wearing heels, they could take that instead of walking.
So
through
you
it.
would drive them?
I wouldn't drive them because my grandpa didn't trust me with this tractor, but, which is totally reasonable. Even though they only got like 5 miles an hour, he didn't trust me. But I did like here's the speech. Like we have this many varieties of tulips, and like
Really?
and I just like gave them a little tour,
Oh.
and then I would take tickets and then get them all loaded on and
Yeah.
all that jazz. And then I did parking lot, a lot of parking lot, a lot of field duty because they weren't supposed to walk through the rows.
So you're basically like security for
I
the
was
tulips.
security for at the age of like 15. Like, yeah, you're
Would
take me
people
seriously.
would people generally listen to you?
I mean, kind of, but really, like, it would be more like how students are. Like, you're like, stop doing that. They're like, okay, you turn your back, they're doing it. Like, so it's just like, and I'd be like walking around the whole field just to remind the same person over and over again. And they're like, I have to ask you one more time. We're going to have to ask you to leave. And I'm like 15 years old. Like, they're not going to take me seriously, So it's just like, you try, you do the best you can, but the
Yeah.
main thing was just trying to protect the tulips because they did need to last that whole month.
Oh,
And so people
yeah.
walking through the rows were damaging them, and that makes it for a shorter show for my
Yeah.
grandparents. So we had to like kind of protect them
Yeah.
to keep it
Never thought about
afloat for a
that.
whole month. Yeah.
When I was at the tulips as well, my friend Daria, she was in Toastmasters with me.
Mm-hmm.
So our Toastmasters is over Zoom, and all of us lived here though. I
Yeah.
think one might have lived down in Phoenix, but then Daria lived in Barbados. And so I think we were talking about what we're doing this week, and I said, oh, I'm going to go to the tulips. Everyone's like, oh yeah. And Daria's like, what's that? I'm like, the tulip fields? The tulip festival?
Yeah.
She didn't know what I was talking about. And I said, okay, I'll call you later. So I went and I FaceTimed her, and she was like utterly speechless.
Yeah.
And that was actually, when I was talking to her, she saw a little bit behind me, and I said, these are actually daffodils, and there's a few. I haven't shown you the tulip fields yet. And I turned it around, and she was almost in tears, like just blown away. And
It's amazing.
I think, I don't know, maybe we just don't realize how lucky we have it here, like how beautiful
I know.
it is.
This is like our daily thing, Like,
Yeah.
That's how I felt too. Like I miss that part of my life, like not being like every April. It felt like, man, we got to go work the tulip festival. And again, like when you're doing, like I was teaching even when I was doing the weekends working at the tulip festival, so I was doing double duty, and I was like, oh man. But then like I look back on those memories and I wouldn't trade it for the world, because being able to like spend time with my family like that, to like what a beautiful place to be, even in sideways wind and rain and hail. I was like, I'm standing in a literal beautiful, majestic painting. Like,
Yeah.
this is where I work.
You're
right
in a
now.
painting,
So,
yeah.
It's super
Well, and then
cool.
you see the mountains in the background.
I know.
and-
There's nothing more beautiful than that.
Yeah.
So it's like I can't really complain about anything. You know?
So talking about the fields, I
Mhm.
had talked to someone last week and they were mentioning working in the fields when they were a kid. And I've heard this a couple times. This still blows my mind that he said school buses would drive around and pick up kids like as young as 9 years old and take them to the fields and pick blueberries, cucumbers, and they talked about tulips as well. It sounds like something from the 40s.
Yeah.
But this was like people who are my age did this when they were younger.
Yeah.
That is crazy. Did you?
Didn't age well, did it? Yeah.
Did you? Well, but it feels like it just stopped suddenly. I'm sure it was
Yeah.
probably 10 years or so, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, did you work in the fields? Probably
I
'cause
didn't-
maybe it was your
I didn't do
family?
like the farming job itself. My grandpa was really particular again about who he had his specific workers who knew how to do everything well.
Oh, really?
And like that was the interesting thing too, is when he passed away, we were like, they were like, can you teach us what he was supposed to teach us? And we're like, he didn't teach anyone here how to do it. Like he was very meticulous and he had his process, and so he
yeah.
only trusted a couple of workers to do it alongside him.
Really?
Yeah, and so he never taught us how to
All
do
his
it.
secrets are gone?
It's just gone. That's why it's like it was hard. Like we knew how to do the business aspect of it, but like
Yeah.
the actual like planting that process and what that looks like to make the tulips healthy it's a pretty intense process, especially because there's so many of them. Like
Yeah.
2 million bulbs, I think. So
Yeah.
it's like think about that process. It's a lot.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. And you said he was from Holland. Mm-hmm. When did he, like, how old was he when he moved here?
Ooh, I think he was like I think early 20s, I want to say, like, or maybe 18, 20.
So, like, did he grow up, like, on a tulip farm in Holland?
No, in Holland, there's just so many beautiful fields over there.
Okay,
So, like, it's just,
yeah.
it's a Dutch thing. So, it's and I think that he came here because it was, like, the land of opportunity that he really wanted to see if he could bring his knowledge of what he experienced in his life, too.
Oh, so he deliberately came here for the tulips.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So before he started selling tulips in the stand, like how did all those fields start? Like, did he start it?
That's a good question. I think he was a big part of, like, why it started, because it was, again, like, 55 years ago. So it's been a long
Wow.
time. So it's part of, he's one of the founders of it. Like, it was a big part
Really?
of why Tulip
Wow.
Festival is what it is. So
Oh, I'm gonna cry.
I know.
That's
It's
so
really,
beautiful.
yeah. It's like he left a legacy behind, which is really amazing. So,
Yeah. Wow, that's really incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, you have to work so hard
yeah.
and I guess you're working hard that month, but that build up to it, you're
Yeah.
working so hard, but you're not making anything.
No. Yeah.
It's all for that one. Yeah.
And then, like, they would rent out, because they had a big field, they had to rotate it for the sake of the soil, because the soil gets really stripped of its nutrients for them. So you have to swap where you put
Every
it
year?
each year. Yeah.
Oh.
And so one year they would let people rent out their land to, like, grow crops while they put their tulips on the other field, because they had to,
Oh.
like, find some source of money. So they, like, rent out
Yeah.
the property to other farmers.
But would the
and-
crops not sap the soil of
No, apparently it's just different nutrients.
Oh.
But yeah, so they had to do that to make ends meet, like to pay
Yeah.
their workers, to keep the lights on, and like we had some years where we did so well and profited so much, and then some Aprils that were just miserable
Yeah.
because of the wind and rain and hail. So
Wow. So you make a really great year one year, but then that could just
yeah,
get you through the next year when you don't
Right.
make anything. Wow.
Yeah.
Man. It really makes you like grateful that teaching's really hard, but I always get a paycheck.
it's stable and it's predictable. Like I think about that. I
Yeah.
mean, even people who are in any sort of sales type job, it's like it's feast or famine a lot of the
Yeah.
time, and it's like we can consistently know we're going to get this amount, and
Yeah.
like we get benefits, like, and we get summer vacation too, and spring vacation and winter vacation. Those things are guaranteed to us. So it's like, I like that predictability. That's nice for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, the fact that we, all the crazy changes over COVID, like we still got paid
We
through
still got paid.
everything. And yeah. Did you hear that Mount Vernon might go to year-round school next year?
What?
They're like talking about it. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. So basically they would take, I want to say maybe 3-week breaks, or maybe
Okay.
3-week breaks, just like 4 times throughout the year.
Okay.
It's like a winter break, spring break, summer break, and fall break,
Okay.
which, I mean, definitely pros and cons for sure. But then somebody was saying, well, but if my kids do that, then I have to find childcare
Oh, so
for when they're
true.
out,
Yeah.
right? I never thought about that part.
Yeah.
So that's unfortunate that, like, people are considering it for the sake of kids learning. This could really benefit them because we all know about the summer slide.
Right.
But then because of childcare, we can't do it.
Childcare has been holding up a lot of things, though. Honestly, there's just not very many options right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, or just options people could afford. You know?
Yeah.
You know, like if you can find it, can you afford it?
Yeah.
You know, I had a mom with one of my students last year, and she was just saying, like, I was planning on like working and having my kids do daycare, but honestly my paycheck that I get from work goes straight to the daycare, so I might as well be the daycare. Like, she just felt like I can't even afford it, like I might as well just stay home and be the daycare.
Well, and then with, you know, maybe not so much right now, well, actually right now it's pretty bad, just kids getting sick.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, well, kids at the daycare are sick, so you gotta pull your kids out.
Oh my gosh, I know. It's been wild. I've gotten sick with everything but COVID this school year, I think.
Oh really?
Like, I've gotten everything. I'm like, man, every day I have a new vitamin I have to try to take, and like how can I stay alive?
Olive texts me. She texts me while she's on the bus, and usually it's like, "Oh, I'll see you later." She texts me at like 8:45, and she goes, "Someone just puked on the bus."
Oh my gosh!
I'm like, what?
I know. I tell everyone, like, I actually I've started asking teachers, especially in my kinder classes, because like a lot of kids can respect your space when you get beyond first grade, like second. Yeah, like second up can generally respect my space, but anything below second grade, there's no space.
No?
Like, they will be in your face, cheek to cheek, like just all up in your
cheek
business.
To cheek.
Yeah, and so I'm like, okay, so like, how's the flu situation? Before I walk in there, and they're like, oh, it's really bad. I'm like, okay, and I put on like 2 masks and then I head in. Like, I'm like, I just have to know before I walk in here, what am I walking into? So generally, funny. I'm like wearing masks in kinder and first, because they just don't know how to not be on me, you know? So
now that you've taught kindergarten, when are you going to have kids?
I'm like, oh, this is a really good control for
Great
me.
Birth control.
Yeah, I know, exactly. I know. That's how I tell Christian that, because he's like, when do you want to? I'm like, I just have so much intel of what it looks like to have one, you know? Like, I just have so much of that, and I feel like I have so many kids already, you know? Like, I feel like that already, so yeah.
So he doesn't work with kids?
No, he does like tech stuff, like he works from home, so he's like he's working from home, working with adults, like he has no idea. He's
like, might be fun. You're like, well, is it? Is it?
Yeah, he actually went to the office for like the first time in a long time
really?
Yesterday, and he woke up with me, because usually he's like asleep still because he doesn't have to commute. And he was like, wow, this commuting thing is like very different. He was just like, I have to get a thermos for my coffee, and was like, oh, I have to get like dressed with like regular pants, and not just like sweatpants. And just the way he was like addressing the morning.
Like, what's
and I was
this
like,
button
he's
situation?
like,
Not doing
like, just the way he was like, oh, and I was like, yes, I know. And like,
how long has he been remote for?
Since COVID. So they went remote, and the plan was just to do it temporarily, but then they ended up actually hiring all over the United States to fill in positions, because they're trying to, you know, they're like, we can expand right now, and we want to, like, usually it was just people from Bellingham, that was their hiring pool.
Oh wow.
And then there were people in Seattle, because they have a Seattle office, but then they were like, oh, we can expand and hire from wherever. So now they can't really have a central location. I think they do want to go back to in office, but they hired so many people from around the United States, and now they're like, well, we kind of can't. So they're just staying virtual, and he loves it. So he's just able to, you know, work comfortably, work in whatever clothes he wants, and still put in the same amount of effort, but he's just very comfortable and has his own routines. So CJ works from home Monday, Tuesday, and then he has Wednesdays off. So it's always like a little stressful Thursday morning, because I'm like, oh, Olive, we had to feed the animals. Okay. Oh, Dad didn't make us breakfast because he's gone. Okay, so I'll make breakfast. You go feed the animal. We're kind of scrambling. Like, it's like I forget every Thursday. Like, okay, he's not here. Where's Dad? He's sleeping. No, he's not here. Darn it. Let's go. I know. Yeah. I'm used to commuting on my own and getting ready in the dark because Christian's still sleeping. So I'm like tiptoeing around, like, don't make the baby. You know? So that's what I'm used to. So yesterday I was kind of weird too. He was like talking to me. I was like, oh, I don't talk in the morning. Like, I am usually by myself. So I blast my music, and I don't talk to anyone, and I wake up. So
it's like you just moved in with someone.
I know,
it's
exactly.
like a brand
whoa,
new.
You're in my space. I'm trying to get ready here. Like, it was just like, and we're bumping elbows as we're getting ready. You know, I'm like, oh my gosh, no.
We need a bigger house.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, it works when you don't wake up the same time as me, but when you do, it was really funny. Because this is what my life would be like if you actually worked in your office.
When the boys boys moved out, I felt like we got a brand new house.
Yeah.
Because we got this room and like I said, the other room, and they were never really around. They were always just in their rooms. But just knowing that these rooms are open and they're ours, and knowing that the piece of paper on the table, it's not CJ's, it's not Olive's, not mine. Well, it might be one of theirs, but I was never around them at the same time to ask them. So stuff just sat there all the time. And now I'm like walking into the TV room. Is this either of yours? No, I'm throwing it away. It feels so freeing.
Yeah,
you know?
you're like, I can address the people that it's like,
I know.
I can control this. This is great.
I feel like my kids went off to college and like I don't have to worry about them anymore, even though I do.
Yeah, but I always will.
Yeah, I just hung out with Zach the other day. It was actually pretty fun.
Oh,
I really
fun.
enjoyed it. So, and then Alex is getting married in June.
Awesome.
I know. Yeah, I'm really excited. That'll be cool. So, yeah, it'll be a fun wedding. Yeah. So, all right. Well, we're almost at an hour.
Oh my gosh.
So I know. I told you.
You told me this was gonna happen. I was like, no, there's
You're like,
no
I'm
way.
so nervous.
I know.
And I was
Well, I
like,
didn't know what to
don't
do with my
pound all
hands.
that whiskey, Chloe. Come on.
I didn't pound any whiskey. You know that. You were here.
I really actually that fridge downstairs. I'm gonna get it up here, so I'll have a fridge up here.
Nice.
And I know.
You got the whole
I'm gonna
setup.
make this like I don't know. I really want. And at first I thought I just need 2 mics. That's fine.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, okay, I want to get 4 mics. Like,
Yeah.
Could
Why
you
not?
imagine? Just like
I was like, I never know what to do with my hands. I'm thinking about my hands a lot. And I'm like, I'm on a recording. I don't need to like worry about my hands. And then I was like, do I do like my NPR voice where it's like really steady, monotone? Or do I use a regular voice? I don't know. These are the questions I'm asking Christian last night. He's like, you're majorly overthinking.
Yeah, it's really cool because like I said, people have come over here who I've never met before.
Yeah.
I'm like, do you want to come to my house and record? They're like, sure. I go, really? You don't even know me. Like, okay, thank you.
You're like, I don't even know if I would say yes to that.
I know. And it's really fun too because I always look at my stats of like, okay, how's episode 3 or how's up, because this podcast has a really great, the website has really great analytics, and my number one by far, double all my other episodes, is this 16-year-old kid.
Oh my gosh.
So
that's
I'm like
awesome.
just picturing like all his, he's like, hey, listen to my podcast,
Hey,
like all
man,
his friends
listen
just
to my
like
podcast.
listening to it.
Yeah, I told you about my friend Monzi, right? Earlier, who has,
Yeah.
she helps with the paint tips all the time. Her and I made this like one, like the tortilla challenge, where you did like the slap game. I don't know if you've heard of that before, where you fill your cheeks with water and then you slap each other with tortillas, and whoever like laughs first wins. But like no one wins with that game. You're slapping each other in the face. But anyways, it was really funny because we watched it so many times, and we're like, oh my gosh, we have so many views right now. And it was like, I was like, wait, how many times have you watched it? She's like, probably like 200 times. I was like, I'm pretty sure I watched it 200 times. I was like, well, we have a lot of views.
It's just you.
It's just her and I watching it over and over again. I'm like,
Oh,
we're
that's
each other's
awesome.
views.
Yeah.
That's how it should be.
And that's the thing. If only me and you and Christian listen to this,
Yeah.
like that's
Like,
totally
it's
fine.
Still, we'll listen to it like 200 times, and then
Yeah.
it's gonna be great.
Well, and that's why I name drop lots of people, because I'm like, well, I did mention you, so you
Yeah.
probably should listen to it to make sure it sounds okay.
Yeah,
and
for
I just
sure.
said someone's name. And
Yeah.
then, boom, there's one more view.
Exactly.
I was looking at the countries of origin too, and it's mostly here, Canada, and then I'm like, Mexico. Wow, I'm international. Like, this is so cool. And then I remembered, oh, my dad's in Mexico right now. So he's on vacation.
Oh my gosh.
Just listen to, and then I have one in Australia. Pretty sure it's my friend Kirk. Hi, Kirk. But it's really cool. Again, if no one else listened, I wouldn't care. Like, this
Yeah.
is so much fun.
Yeah.
And I'm and
Yeah.
we'll talk. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll end on that note before we say anything we shouldn't. All right. Thanks, Chloe.
Yeah, of course.